friends, welcome back to Get Fit with Rachel. Our favorite guest host is back, McCall Almada. And if you did not see that first video, make sure you go back and watch it. She is a corrective exercise specialist. Today we are going to be going over myofascial release, which everybody should do, because what? We want to get pain-free and help with all those little aches and pains. So tell us more, McCall.
Okay, so if you don't know what fascia is, fascia is like an internal skin that lines all of our muscles, and it's meant to kind of package the muscles and keep everything in place. The problem though is that with hard exercise or with even lack of movement, this fascia tends to stick to the structures around it, and this prevents movement that should naturally be occurring and be effortless. So what we're going to try to do is use some tools to free that fascia and increase our freedom of movement.
Oh, wonderful.
So the first thing that I would introduce is the foam roller. So everybody has seen these foam rollers. They've become very popular in gyms, but I've seen people using them incorrectly quite a bit. So I'm going to show you first how to release a quadriceps. So what you're going to do is you have two options as far as using the roller. So if you're very tight and very painful, you're going to want to use the first option, which is to roll both of your legs at the same time. So to do that, you're going to find your hip bones, those pointy little bones that stick out on the front of your pelvis, and you're going to place the roller just below those bones. That's the start of your hip flexors and the attachment points of the quadriceps muscles. So you're going to lay yourself flat on the roller and first rest all of your body weight and just try to relax and let the roller sink into your tissues. This takes usually about 30 seconds, but can be a little bit different for each individual, and you'll start to get the feeling of it the more you do it. From here, you're going to try to keep your legs dead weight as much as you can, and you're going to slowly pull yourself forward. You can use your toes on the floor and then your elbows, and you're just going to gently drag yourself forward, not lifting yourself up off of the roller, but keeping as much weight on the roller as you can. And then you're going to pause again. So you'll notice when you hold a single position that it becomes a little bit more comfortable, a little less painful over time. After about 30 seconds, that initial feeling of tension starts to reduce or even disappear. And that's your signal that it's time to move forward. So then you're just going to do it again. You're going to slowly drag yourself forward, leaving those legs dead weight. And when you feel that renewed sense of tension, that your roller is in a fully new spot, you're just going to hold again. So I've seen lots of people at the gym going back and forth very quick and aggressively, and you're not going to get that deep release of the tissues that we're looking for. You might get some stimulation of some blood flow on top, but you're not going to truly change the tissue structure, and that's what we're looking for. We want to change what's going on inside your body. Once you've mastered this position, you can also intensify or dig deeper into your muscle by doing one leg at a time, so that more body weight is on one single leg. So for this one, you're going to start at the same point just below your hip bone, but you're going to lay with just one leg on, and then flare your opposite leg out to the side so that it's out of your way, and come down as flat as you can. Everything else is the same. You're still going to wait that 30 seconds initially to allow the roller to sink into the tissues. And then you're going to kind of crawl yourself forward. This position allows you to work with your opposite leg that you're not rolling and leave the leg that you are working on completely loose. I don't have to push off my toe in this position, but a lot more of my body weight is on just my right leg. The other advantage to this is that you don't just have to roll the middle quad, but you can rotate your body to the side to focus more on your lateral quad, or you can rotate towards the roller and open up that inner thigh a little bit to focus more on the medial quad. And that way it can become a lot more specific. As far as how much you want to roll your quad, you can roll all the way down until you're about to touch your kneecap, but never roll over the front of your knee. If you do have knee pain or knee problems, sometimes the pressure of the roller will tighten the muscle so much that it creates a lot of tension on the knee joint. So if that happens to you, that means you just don't want to approach your knee any closer. So if you get to your mid-thigh here and you're feeling that pulling on your knee joint, that's as far as you want to go. And then just gently and slowly work your way back up to your starting position. Do it every day, and over time you'll be able to get closer and closer and closer to your knee joint until it doesn't hurt anymore to go all the way down and up the full length of your quad.
Wonderful. Now, McCall, can you kind of show us, as you can see, that is that perfect way. But I see folks do this, and I've even been guilty of it in the past, where they get themselves in a semi position, right? And they automatically are just not even allowing all the proper weight on. So as you can see, once again, you saw McCall doing it the proper way, and this is the way not to do it. I just wanted to point that out because sometimes you get into the routine of doing things, you just want to get to that workout, and before you know it, you're doing this wrong, and we want to make sure you're doing it correctly.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's awesome, McCall. Now, I also see that you have some balls over here.
Yes.
Can you show us what you might want to do with those?
Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that this is a toy. There are very expensive myofascial release balls available online, and if you put a fitness label on anything, it automatically raises the price.
I'm gonna see.
So this is just a toy ball. It's a 4-inch vinyl ball, but what I like about it is that it has the little port here where you can put a needle in and fill it so that it becomes firmer, or you can put the needle in and let some air out so it becomes softer. I like to use this softer ball for targeting the psoas muscle in particular. So your psoas muscle is a deep hip flexor that's actually in your abdomen. So the psoas attaches, it's deep in your abdomen, and it attaches to your spine from the front. It runs down and over your pelvis and then attaches to the inside of your femur, or your upper leg, very close to the top. Now, what that muscle does is it can either draw your knee up to your chest, or it can flex your torso down towards your legs. And as you know, we spend a lot of time in that position. That's a seated position.
Correct.
Shortens that psoas muscle. So because it's attached to the back, a lot of the times, if we've been in a seated position for a long time and then we go to stand up, we're stretching that muscle and we're stretching it suddenly. So if it's too tight and it doesn't have a chance to relax into that lengthened position, it will yank on your back and cause low back pain. So we're going to release that with a ball, and you want to use something soft, not something hard, because we do have intestines in this lower abdomen.
Hey, you don't want to hurt them?
Yeah, and we don't want to use anything that could be damaging to an organ. So this can be very uncomfortable, but it should not be outright painful. If you feel you're crossing the line into outright pain, you want to deflate your ball so that it's only uncomfortable.
Okay.
Okay, so to find your psoas, you're going to find your belly button first.
Okay.
You're going to move about 1 inch to the side and about 1 inch lower, and that's about the starting position of your psoas.
Okay.
So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to place the ball there and we're going to lay face down on it. Now, because your psoas flexes your hip, it's going to be in a shortened position if you flex your leg up. So that's the more gentle way to do it. So I'll show you both versions before you start.
Yes.
So I'm going to come down onto my belly. And if I flex the knee up and turn it out to the side, this is a more gentle position for the psoas. So if you're finding that it's too intense at first, try bending your leg up and out to the side. If you find that it's not intense enough and you want to get more pressure, then go ahead and extend your legs out straight.
Okay. So belly button over.
Yep.
Down.
There you
here.
go. Perfect.
Come down. Have my knee up initially to make sure everything feels
Perfect.
all right.
Perfect.
Ooh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I noticed too, you really have to allow yourself to relax. Our natural tendency is to tighten that core and get all and protect the body, but you really truly have to
Exactly. Let the
yourself to-
abdominals go, because we'll have to push through the abdominals as well. And so this is something that you could also do even if you're not trying to target the psoas muscle, but even if you've just done a lot of sit-ups, because we want our abdominals to be not only strong but also flexible, because our abdominals can also create too much tension rather than just trying to rush through it because it's uncomfortable.
Wonderful.
So as we continue, we're going to follow the path of that psoas, and I'm going to give you a fast forward version. So we'll wait in each spot, but I'm just going to advance past. So then you're gonna be in that pocket that's kind of in where the hip of the wing of your hip might be. And you're kind of in between that hip bone and your pubic bone. And so you're gonna make sure that you pass there. And then follow what some people might call your bikini line, down all the way onto that innermost portion of your thigh to get to the insertion point of the psoas muscle. So when you're on that inward portion of your thigh, yep, you might open your legs just a little bit to allow more room. Wait there, again, 30 seconds or longer if you feel like, you know, you're really getting a good stretch and you want to sit with it for longer. And then you're going to reverse the process and work your way back up. You always want to release muscles in both directions so that you mobilize the fascia in as many directions as possible. Most importantly though, the directions that the muscle works along. So we'll hold here and then we'll slowly back our bodies up, letting the roller work its way up, holding just as we did on the way down, and then just continue to advance yourself at your own pace, but as slowly as you can tolerate it until you're back to your starting position, and then we'll do the other side. One last note though is that when you are going to release the pressure off the ball, you want to make sure that you do it slowly so that that muscle stays relaxed and you don't trigger like a reactive contraction on that muscle. And also because we are pushing past our organs, we just want to be very, very careful with it. So you're just going to slowly roll off to the side, gradually releasing that pressure off the ball.
Wonderful. And would you say that, well, clearly for the folks at home, that was a fast forward version, so make sure you take your time with that. Not the ball specifically, but the foam roller, would you say that is just as good as stretching or better?
So this is even better than stretching. So with stretching, our muscles are made of fibers, and those fibers are kind of interwoven over the top of each other. And when you're stretching, you're pulling on those fibers. But what that fascia does is it sticks those fibers together. And so when you're pulling on those fibers in a stretch, they're not going to move as much. And so what you're doing with the ball is you're pressing into those adhesions and breaking them free. And then when you go to stretch afterward, those fibers will be more free to move. So you'll get a deeper stretch and you'll actually lengthen that muscle tissue the way you're trying to.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Now I'm gonna get a little controversial here. So there was a doctor that says that fascial release does not do anything when you're just doing it with foam rollers. You would need blah pound per, you know, whatever to actually release that. What do you say to that?
So there are different ideas of what is actually happening in fascial release, whether or not it's truly a mechanical process or whether or not it's a neurological process. And it's likely true that it's a little bit of both, because we can have muscles that are very tight because they're continuously getting neurological signals to fire, or we can have muscles that are tight simply because they are physically adhered to themselves. So both are true, but we go in for massage, and this is very, very similar to what you're doing in controlled. It's very inexpensive, and then you can target what areas you feel like you need, and you can kind of follow your own tension as opposed to trying to describe to somebody else what you're feeling.
Wonderful. And what does that do? It gets you pain-free.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, whether so-and-so's study is right or so-and-so's study's right, what happens is you're getting pain-free, so you can do those movements, so you can work at your desk, so you can do that hard workout. So I say it's all good.
Absolutely, I agree.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to point out? I noticed there was also a tool like this.
Okay, so this is another myofascial release tool. It is going to be the most aggressive of the ones that we've seen here. So sometimes you'll see these rollers and they're just nice and smooth. This one has little spikes on it. And so what it's doing is, just like I mentioned before that our muscles are made of fibers, these little spikes are meant to actually try to come in and separate those fibers.
Wonderful.
Maybe not literally the fibers, but the bundles of fibers. So these ones, you don't put all your body weight on. You use them as a handheld. You want to make sure your muscle is shortened when you're in the position to roll it so that it can be as loose as possible. And then you're going to apply controlled pressure to your own comfort level. And then same thing as with the roller and the ball, you want to slowly advance and allow those muscles and tissues, the fascia itself, to separate and release.
So again, we're not scrubbing back and forth.
And
this might feel okay, but it's not doing very much.
Right, and I gotta admit, I'm guilty of that. I've done that thousands of times where I didn't take my time advancing. I just went to town.
Yeah.
So, and there is a big difference when I do it properly. I actually get that release.
Exactly, and over time, you might start with just counting to 30, but over time you'll start to, if you take notice, feel how those muscles let go a little bit, and then that's your trigger that, okay, I'm ready to move to the next spot and keep continuing pressure until that muscle release happens again. This could also be something you could start with if the roller is too aggressive because your full body weight is too intense for the muscle that you're working. You could start by loosening up the superficial layers of that muscle with a handheld device like this one.
Wonderful. Gosh, McCall, you are just so wonderful. We love having you. And next time you watch her, I'm going to be taking her through a workout. So you guys, what do we always say here at Get Fit with Rachel? We want to what? Get stronger together. Make sure you tune in and get pain free with us. Oh, and work out. Have a good one. Now don't get your mind twisted.
This isn't what you think it's